gentlemen, please welcome Dinesh D'Souza, President of the King's College.
Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to follow Bobby Jindal. I want to welcome you all to Indian American Morning at CPAC. Woohoo! I too am going to be speaking about Barack Obama, who is clearly the most unknown guy to enter the Oval Office in American history. 3 years later, well into his presidency, he remains a mystery. If you look at his own past, there are all kinds of black holes in Obama's background. Who were his friends at Columbia? Whom did he room with? Whom did he eat with? What were his grades? What was his GPA? In one of his books, he talks about living with the girl for quite a long period of time. No woman has ever come forward and said, "I am that woman." No journalist has ever reported her name. So there's a lot of personal mystery around Obama. But more than that, there is ideological mystery. And by that I mean it's still unclear, almost at the end of Obama's first term, what his compass is, what's really driving this guy. And we see this because we hear radically different descriptions of Obama. From the left, you know, he's the Messiah, he's the first African-American president, he's the realization of Martin Luther King's ideal. As conservatives, we often hear he's a socialist, he's a Manchurian candidate, he's a secret Muslim. Now, interestingly, these javelins which have been thrown at Obama have grazed him, but haven't really hit him squarely. Why? Because I think there's something about Obama that remains unexplained. He's clearly not a traditional Democrat. He's not like Clinton or Kerry or Dukakis or even the hapless Jimmy Carter. We might disagree with those guys, but we kind of got them. We knew where they were coming from. With Obama, you have a guy who doesn't want the bust of Winston Churchill around him in the Oval Office. You want a guy who wants to remake the space agency into an international outreach agency for Muslims. You want a guy who's blocking oil drilling in America while he subsidizes oil drilling in Brazil and Colombia and encourages it in Mexico. You've got a guy who looks at uprisings in multiple Muslim countries, from Tunisia to Bahrain to Egypt and Libya. He uses force in Libya, but refuses to use force in Syria. Now, when America decided to use force in Libya, Gaddafi had killed a couple of hundred people. In Syria, several thousand people have been massacred, but no action. Obama intervenes with the military to get rid of Mubarak in Egypt. But when there were massive uprisings in Iran, and an opportunity perhaps to overthrow the most anti-American government in recent history, Obama abstains. So what principle of selectivity accounts for why Obama intervenes over here but not over there? What's driving this guy? One advantage of knowing a man's compass is that you can not only understand what they are doing, but you can predict what they are going to do. The film that you saw briefly teased or previewed here is a film called 2016. Why 2016? Because it's actually asking the question, what would America look like in 2016 if Obama were to have a second term? Now, whether he has a second term is in our hands, But in order to know what Obama would do in the second term, remember, he won't be tethered to public opinion. He won't have to run for re-election again. He will be truly, in a sense, a free man in the White House to do what he wants. But what does he actually want to do? Another way to ask that question is simply to ask, what is Obama's dream? Is it the American dream? Is it Martin Luther King's dream? Surprisingly, no. The American dream actually made Obama's success possible. But when he was explicitly asked, is America unique? Do you believe in American exceptionalism? He said, no, we're no more exceptional than the Brits or the Greeks. Interestingly, Martin Luther King's dream made Obama's success possible. And yet, never in his life, not even in his famous race speech in Philadelphia, has Obama explicitly or articulately defended the colorblind ideal. He benefits from it, but it's not his dream. So what is Obama's dream? Fortunately, we don't have to speculate or guess. All you have to do is pick up his own autobiography, and it says it right there on the cover. Dreams from My Father. Now, notice that the title is not Dreams of My Father. Obama's not writing about his dad's dreams. Dreams from my father means here are the dreams that I, Obama, got from my dad. And who was his father? His father was a man who grew up in Kenya when Kenya was fighting for independence from the British. Ideologically, his father was an anti-colonialist. Now, this is a little bit of a strange term to some Americans, anti-colonialism. But I grew up in India. India was a colony of the British. So I understand the anti-colonialism, I think, pretty well. Who was an anti-colonialist? My dad, my grandfather, my uncles, everybody I knew. And what is this anti-colonialism? It is, in fact, the most powerful ideology in Asia and Africa and South America in the past 100 years. If you want to know why there's anti-Americanism around the world, it's not just because of Islamic radicalism. That would help to explain it in the Middle East. It's anti-colonialism. And the anti-colonial ideology, very simply, is that the world is divided into the oppressors and the oppressed. There is the West, now led by America, and then there are the poor people of Asia, Africa, and South America. And the anti-colonial ideology is that the rich countries got rich by invading and occupying and looting the poor countries. And the anti-colonial ideology says that to fight against all this, you have to put a leash on the rogue elephant that is now America. It also says that there are concentrations of economic power, the banks, the insurance companies, the oil companies. This is the economic wing of colonialism. And what you have to do to fight this is to use the power of the state to control it. In 1965, Barack Obama Sr. wrote an article in the East Africa Journal in which he asked, what does a country do when you have powerful concentrations of economic power at the top? And Obama said, this is Obama Sr., we have to have confiscatory tax rates, high tax rates. How high? I quote him now, tax rates of up to 100%. 100% taxation. Now, you might say this is a little bit nuts, but actually, if you plug in the anti-colonial idea, it's not. Why? Because if one of you were to come to my house and steal all my furniture, what's the appropriate tax rate for you? 100%. Why? Because it's not your furniture. Now, the remarkable thing about this anti-colonialism is that Obama writes in his book that he went to his father's grave and he flung himself on the ground and he wept. And he says, quote, through Africa's red soil I spoke to my father. It's a little creepy. His father's been dead for years. But Obama's trying literally to get the man out of the ground. But he can't. And so he comes to a kind of epiphany, an amazing sort of realization. He says, I can't have my dad, so I'll take his dream. That's the meaning of dreams from my father. And I think that if you take the anti-colonial ideology of the father and apply it to the actions of the son, you will see a jigsaw pattern come together. All kinds of facts about Obama that are obscure, that have never been explained, including his infatuation with the Reverend Jeremiah Wright with Bill Ayers. These are the guys I call Obama's founding fathers. All of this comes to light when you put the jigsaw together. So in this film, which is going to be in theaters in the summer, it's a big film. Our producer is the guy who made Braveheart and Jurassic Park and Schindler's List. And this isn't just a kind of a hit job on Obama. I'm a college president, and the film is a journey into, in a sense, the heart of Obama. It's a journey in Hawaii and Indonesia and Kenya. It's a way to figure out who this unusual man really is. He's often presented as a kind of multicultural embodiment of the American dream. And all of us try to project American history onto Obama. But in the process, we forget Obama's own history. I think if the American people knew who Obama really was, they would see that he is not an ordinary Democrat. Ordinary Democrats want to redistribute income in America. Obama wants to realign America in the world. That's a very different agenda. Now, he's going to be hard to beat, and as conservatives, we sometimes get weary. There's a saying in India, after crossing the mountain, more mountains. And as activists, I think you know the feeling. Nevertheless, I hope you'll come to see the film, talk to people about it. It's going to be an entertaining and eye-opening film. It's going to tell you things about Obama you don't know. And I think hopefully that it will give you the wherewithal, the information, the intellectual ammunition to contest what may be the most important election since 1980. Thank you very much.